Hello, my name is Damon Friedman, co-founder and president of SOF Missions. As a 20-year veteran within Special Operations, I've gone through many challenges due to my military service and time in combat. We felt called to start SOF Missions to serve our fellow brothers and sisters in arms, focusing on suicide prevention and resiliency. Our mission at SOF Missions is to empower warriors to find purpose and be resilient. Since 2011, when we started the organization, almost 3 million men and women have deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. Unfortunately, the scars of war take a toll on their psychological, physical, social, and spiritual health. Many veterans feel a sense of hopelessness and a loss of purpose when they return to civilian life. They feel isolated and alone, unable to reconnect. And in the greatest of tragedies, over 20 veterans lose all hope and take their own lives. Our goal at SOF Missions is to provide veterans the tools and resources so that they don't become a statistic. We offer a unique approach to combating veteran suicide through a whole health intradisciplinary model. The Be Resilient program is a 4-pillar methodology that addresses the areas of psychological, physical, social, and spiritual wellness. We provide care through 3 delivery methods: medical clinics, retreats, and educational training. Since we started back in 2011, we have been able to reach veterans in all 50 states and have served over 3,000 veterans through the Be Resilient program. Being resilient is a multifaceted and complex issue. We know that to find a lasting solution, we have to address the whole warrior. Many challenges cannot be solved by providing the treatments and modalities of just one component, but by tackling them all. Now, we've expanded our services to include law enforcement and first responders. Together, we can make a lasting impact in the lives of warriors across the nation. To learn more, visit our website at sofmissions.org.
Proceed to your post assignment. All units proceed to your post assignment.
All right. Welcome back.
MisFitNation, the MisFitNation show.
We are a show founded by a veteran and hosted by 2 veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their stories to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the Misfit Nation. If you're a musician or an actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on and share your tips with the Misfit Nation to help them become better versions of themselves. If you are a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and show how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you are a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and share your story with the Misfit Nation. We always have time for you. If you're feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, Stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle or feel embarrassed, dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you are a new listener, welcome to the Misfit Nation show. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast app. Also on our YouTube channel at @the_Misfit Nation. Subscribe and click the bell to keep you up to date on our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Heroes Media Group and About Face Radio. Now, let's get to the show!
All right. Welcome back to the Misfit Nation show. It's your Sunday after dinner edition of the show. We're grateful to have you here after this long holiday weekend. Hopefully you all have all your fingers, all your toes, and all your loved ones around you. As you know, right now in Texas, it's a horrible situation in Kerr County and the surrounding counties in that area. What we know right now, catastrophic flooding struck Central Texas Friday, causing a surge of 20 to 26 feet on the Guadalupe River near Kerrville, leading to widespread damage and washing out of roads. As of this broadcast, there's at least 79 confirmed unalived at this time within the 6 counties. 40 of those are adults. 68 deaths. Those 40 adults, 28 children. 11 children are still missing from the Camp Mystic, the large camp there for a Christian camp there. So keep them in your thoughts, prayers, and the whole count, all the counties there, the communities, and all of Texas as they go through this tough time. Make sure you reach out to any nonprofit agencies or any for-profit, any agencies that are down there trying to help. Get down there and do what you can to help from as far away as you can. Or if you're there, tell us what you need and we'll broadcast it here as well. Thank you. Tonight, we have another great guest coming on. He's going to take some of that fear out of your hearts. He's a visionary leader at the intersection of artificial intelligence. That's right, AI, everybody. Leadership development and human-centered innovation. With over 2 decades of experience in aerospace industry and a foundational background as a U.S. Marine Corps vet, he has dedicated his career to transforming leadership through technology and empathy. So without further ado, let's welcome Paul Hylenski to the MisFitNation show. Welcome, Paul.
Hey, thank you so much, Rich. Appreciate it.
It's great to have you here. Like I said earlier, it's great to always connect here, especially virtually, since it makes it a lot easier for all of us to be able to get in touch with each other a lot easier now. Reach out and touch, like the old goes to AT&T, reach out and touch someone. Now we can do that stuff. It's a lot easier, and that brings us right into what you do now, AI. It's not reach out and touch someone. It's enhancing things, I believe. But I'm going to let you tell a little more about you right now, Paul. Go back as far as you want to how we got on this journey to where we are now.
Yeah. So, like you said, I served in the United States Marine Corps. And when I got out, like many veterans, I said, okay, I'm going to go file for my disabilities. And so that was a colossal disaster. I started filing, waiting, 7, 8, 9, 10 months. I filed 5 times over the course of 5 years, and I ended up with 10%. That's it. Wow. A tinnitus rating. And so then I did what most veterans do. And I went to a lawyer who said, hey, we're going to take 30% of your back pay. And then we're going to take a percentage of your percentage. And I said, okay, I think I'm about to get screwed here. And so at the time I had a job and I was like, you know what, just screw it. I'm done. This is enough. And so fast forward, AI comes around and I thought, okay, what if I could have AI teach me how to code computer languages? And so I did, and I sat and I said, okay, I'm going to do this. So for 6 months, I was the most boring person in the world, but I literally would do nothing but have AI teach me how to code, set up simulations. And at the end of the 6 months, I had literally learned how to code 5 different computer languages. So then I said, okay, what if I could make myself an AI tool to get my benefits? And so I did. And I made the first iteration of Vet Mentor AI. I didn't call it that. It was just for me. And so I got it. And then I ended up filing. It told me why I had been denied, told me exactly what to do because it's trained on the CFR, the M21 rating manual. It was trained on everything that I didn't know anything about. And so then I filed a fully developed claim because it told me exactly what to do. And so I ended up getting all of my back pay, all of my benefits. And so it was this beautiful thing. And I said, oh my God, I'm onto something. So then I went to all of my Marine Corps friends that I still had contact with. And I said, hey, are you denied or do you not have the disability benefits that you deserve? And so then I started getting all of them approved. And I thought, oh, my God, now we're really on to something. So then we did over the course of, a few months, we actually got over 180 beta users from different branches, different situations, Vietnam vets to the Operation Enduring Freedom. And so then we started getting all this, these approvals. And so we're at a 92% success rate, first time submittal. Wow. And so it's huge, right? Because the average rejection rate is 75%. And so most veterans are getting rejection after rejection. That's why they have to go to the lawyers. And so, what my intent is to actually, eliminate claim sharks and eliminate these lawyers that are taking advantage of the military members because they don't know the CFRs. They don't know the M21s and stuff. And so that's my journey into how I learned AI, then built a tool, and then we actually built, a full software as a service. And it's been really amazing. We've helped over 10,000 veterans so far. And like I said, we have a 92% success rate. And our success rate, I always laugh because when I tell people, they're like, oh, well, it sounds high. So the way the states actually do their success rate is if the veteran files 5 claims and they get, 1 out of the 5 approved, the states and a lot of these organizations say that's a success, right? So we don't do it that way. If you file 5 claims and you get, 1 denied, that counts as a denial. So when I say 92% success, that means people are filing and getting their claims. And so our system writes your claim and literally optimizes your claim the way the VA is going to require it to be, because it's trained on the entirety of CFRs, the M21 rating manual, and it's trained on the Kaluza triangle, all of these different things. So it is the smartest person or smartest thing to help a veteran get their claim. It even tells you what to say to your C&P examiner. And so we've broken it down complete Barney style, exactly like a Marine would need it, right? And so it tells you what to say, what to write. It tells you exactly what to do and how to file it, whether it's a secondary, primary, or a presumptive condition. So.
Wow. And that's just amazing. The higher approval rate of over 90%. That's amazing. I mean, I was the anomaly coming out for 1 shot, 1 kill to get to 100%. That's an anomaly. You don't see that every day. And mine was lucky. I had guys right before me getting out and going through the process. So we went through the regs together. We were all hard heads, starting first classes, looking at the regs together, going line by line, what am I supposed to do? But then I also had the Wounded Warrior Project help me. And we sat in a Panera Bread up there by Aberdeen for about 4 hours going through my records. And that helped me a lot. But this would have helped a lot easier, make it a lot easier just using the AI, vet AI to get me through there. And I'm sure a lot of the guys and gals coming out now, if they're not using this, hopefully they have help otherwise that they're not paying for, like you said, the sharks that are out there. Yeah, this would make life a lot easier for them.
Yeah. And that's what we've seen where, a lot of the people that are coming out now, there isn't a stigma around it, right? When we served, you didn't go to medical. It was just, you never went to medical. You just sucked it up. And so now you have this really big population of veterans that are like, well, I don't have a lot of documentation. I don't have, I can't file. Yes, you can. And the system tells you exactly how to file and what to file. And it's just amazing because we're able to use, we kind of talked before the show. There's this fear about AI. And look, AI has some dangerous things, but AI is really amazing for doing things like this. These are, really complex processes because you can train AI on the entirety of the process manuals. No human knows every single word out of the CFR. My AI does. And no human can actually memorize the M21 rating manual. The AI system does. And so when you couple that with the tools, and then we actually have avatars. And so these avatars they're two-way conversations. So it looks like a Zoom call.
Right.
And it actually talks to the veterans. So the Vietnam veterans love this because they maybe, the technology barrier for a Vietnam veteran is a lot different than someone who's getting out now. And so the ability to just talk and you have basically the smartest, we call it a veterans, virtual veterans officer, but it's basically like a VSO. And so our virtual veterans officer can answer any question about, I'm at 10%. I want to file for migraines. How do I do it? It even will tell you about how to get a VA home loan. It'll tell you about how to get your kids' education paid from the VA. And we've had, a couple users where their spouse has died and the virtual veterans officer walked them through how to get burial benefits.
Oh, wow.
And so our platform's used for that as well.
So not just for the vet coming out and getting their rating, it also will help with all the things that the veteran is not owed, but authorized.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And I mean, we have a suite of other AI tools in it. So we even have a career officer that'll teach you how to do your LinkedIn, how to write a resume. It'll interview you. The avatar will literally interview you for a job and tell you what you should say. We have a resume builder. We even have an AI tool to where, let's say you're relocating somewhere, you can put the zip code in and it'll literally do an analysis on that area. Tell you what, how many restaurants are there, what the crime rating is, what schools are best. And so we're utilizing AI technology for the whole veteran. So, we have users that are looking to get a job. And honestly, that's what I wanted to do, was make a tool to where, if you're a veteran, it's your mentor. It's telling you how to get a job, how to get your benefits, how to get, VA disability, where, if you're relocating, where to find a good place, and all using AI technology.
where can the veteran find Vet AI?
So it's Vet Mentor AI. So it's www.vetmentorai.com. And so if your viewers are going to go there, there's a really great commercial video that's actually on the landing page. And then you'll also see the 20 plus organizations we've already partnered with. And so we're partnered with, veteran organizations. We recently partnered with the MOPH, Military Order of the Purple Heart Fund. And so we're in the middle of actually giving away the platform to any Purple Heart recipient in the United States that doesn't have the rating they deserve. And there's about 40% of Purple Heart recipients that do not have the rating. And a lot of these men and women are getting older, especially from the Vietnam era, and their family will not get the benefits that they truly deserve because these veterans, and they have been dying and not getting the proper care and the proper benefits that they really deserve.
Definitely. And I might have missed it. Does it go into the burn pit stuff as well?
Yeah, so it has it's trained on all the presumptive conditions, and so it's trained on the Vietnam presumptive conditions, the most recent burn pits, all that stuff. It even analyzes where you served because you have to put that in. So the form is very simple. It simulates the same form you're going to have to fill out for the VA. And then, and so we have a whole bunch of layers of protection. The only personal information that we take from you is your name, your email, and your phone number. We don't want your social. We don't want any of that stuff because we protect our veterans, right? And we don't do anything with the data other than train the model. And so that's how we've been able to actually get better and better and better results because the model's learning from everyone. And it's really amazing. Because, as people are going over situations with the virtual veterans officer, we've patented these AI avatar technology that we have. It is actually expansive. So it's growing because it's learning from the veterans. And so it's really amazing because the level of service that you get from this virtual veterans officer, or we have a denied claims assistant avatar. And we were in that one was really cool. We were in the news because we had a veteran who'd been getting denied, right? And so they go on, they use the platform, and the platform picked up that the VA was using another veteran's medical record to deny this person's claim. And so this guy got buku money back pay, right? It told him exactly what to do, how to file the claim to get all of his back pay. And so he calls me and he's like, dude, what else do I give you? Right. And he's like, because I just got all this money. And I said, nothing, dude. I said, you paid for the subscription. Everything is cool. Right. And so one-time fee for the subscription. And I was like, that's the whole point of it. And so he went to the news because he was like, I got to do something to share this to get the word out. And so that's why, on our landing page, we have a bunch of media where we've been, on the front page of newspapers. We've been on the actual Channel 2 news. And I'm really humbled and proud by like the way that we're helping veterans.
100%. And it pumps me up that veterans, your success rate pumps me up a lot to see that my brothers and sisters are being able to get taken care of and coming through at that home run at 92% and not having to keep fighting or quitting, which which is what for a long time, the VA would love when people just quit because then they didn't have to deal with them. Oh, they said no. Okay, good. Like a lot of the Vietnam veterans, when they came home, if they were missing an arm or a leg, they were being told it wasn't service connected. They came home from Vietnam, the war, without this. And that's a gut punch. But that generation was so proud that, okay, they said it's not service connected. I just got to go to work. I got to find a job now. I'm out of the military. I got to find a job. And this flips that script and kind of helps those guys. And then, of course, our generation as they come out as well.
Yep.
And we do have two questions. One, you definitely answered already. I'll just put it on here for you. This is from Patty House of Cards. What inspired you to create Vet Mentor AI? And how does the virtual VSO work?
Well, awesome. So I kind of already went over what inspired me as my own pain. And then the virtual VSO. So it is an interactive avatar. And so this is kind of new technology with AI. And so what happens, or what the avatar is basically a lifelike simulation. It looks like a person. We've even named them the different avatars that we have on the screen and in the platform. And so they are expansive AI, which means they're trained on everything, right? The CFR, the M21 rating manual, even simulations of, situations. I'm 10%. I got migraines now. How does that impact with my tinnitus, right? And so all of these different things. Plus, it is also trained on every veteran benefit that exists. So we literally trained it on everything from, education, burial, even so much so all the special conditions and the special allowances that are actually out there. So what's really neat is when you're talking to this avatar, you can ask any question. And you can ask, hey, how do I get my kids, VA benefits for, their schooling or whatever. And so it'll walk you through everything. And so the technology barrier is much lower. You don't have to really, deal with AI like people think, where you're coding and you're doing all these prompts. You're just talking to a guy on the thing. And so we have doctors. We literally have a male and a female doctor that does your CNP exam. And so what it'll do is they will actually do your CNP exam. And then at the end, it'll grade how you did, and it'll tell you what you should have said. And so our veterans practice. And some of the testimonials we've gotten are they knew the questions before the doctor even asked it. And so when they go in with these records, with migraine journals, they go in prepared. And then they even, because of the platform, it will tell you what DBQ or disability benefits questionnaire. And so they'll say, we had one veteran actually tell the CNP examiner, you did not ask me question 12. I need you to ask me question 12 and write down my answer. And so imagine when you go to that CNP exam, not scared like most people do, because you've already done 10 of them. Right. And you know exactly what you need to bring, exactly the words you need to say, right? Perfect example. We had a veteran who was filing for migraines. And this happened to me too when I was doing my thing with the platform. So if I go into that CNP exam and they say, how often do you have headaches? And I say, yeah, I got headaches a few times a week. I get 0%. But if I go into that office and I say, I have 3 to 4 prostrating headaches per week that impact my life and my work, now that's a 50% rating. Same exact condition, different words. But who the hell talks like prostrating headaches, right? Nobody talks like the CFR.
Right.
So that's why we train our veterans. You talk like the CFR, you write like the CFR, because that's what they're paying these lawyers, thousands and thousands of dollars. And they're just doing what the platform does. And so we've even had, lawyers reach out to us to white label the platform, which we've denied. We're not looking to do that. But, it's just, we're making the veteran on the same level playing field as the VA and all these lawyers. And so now the average high school diploma veteran that gets out can be as smart as a lawyer when it comes to the CFR and the M21.
That's outstanding. Like you said, I know I don't speak like that at all personally, and most of us humans don't. And when we talk to the CMP professionals, it's almost like they are AI because they're just going off a checklist, and that's all they do. They don't. Most times, mine didn't look at me at all. Not one of the people I went to looked at me. They looked at their computer and asked me questions. So I could have went in there wearing nothing. I could have been naked sitting in front of them. They wouldn't know. They have no idea. And so they're just going off a checklist. So if you go in there confident, especially with the verbiage, I think that's easiest. That's softball playing now. You're playing slow pitch softball, and all you got to do is stay steady.
Yep. And the avatars even tell you what to bring. Like if you go to the migraines and you bring a migraine journal and have them admit it to evidence, like think about the difference when you're saying the right words, you're bringing the right documentation, and then you're sitting there with the DBQ going word for word to make sure they don't miss something. Because here's the thing where a lot of veterans get, hammed up because the CMP examiners will miss questions. And if those questions are missed and it gets to the rating, they can sometimes not give you the rating because the CMP examiner didn't ask you all of the questions. And so that's why it is important you go line by line and make that they are there for you. And so when we train the veterans enough that they know and they're smart in what they need to ask and what they need to say, it changes the entire game.
100% it does. And I would just love to be the fly on the wall when one of these young veterans go in there with the script, with the knowledge to say their scripted words, and the CMP writer just all of a sudden him or her is probably stuttering in their typing because they don't know what to do when someone says the right words. Oh,
exactly.
No. What do I do now? They said something that is in my book. How do I do this? That's crazy. I'm glad you're doing this. Next question is from Sell By Go 2. Many veterans feel lost in the VA system. How does your tech directly address that? I think you've answered this pretty well, but just
overview. No, so the reason why veterans struggle with the VA system, it's not because the VA hates you. The VA loves veterans, right? But they are forced to abide by certain criteria that's been passed down, right? And so it's complex. Like any government action or any kind of government thing, it's very complex. And so what this platform does is it takes it and it does all the complexity. It goes into the CFR and looks up your diagnostic code and exactly what you need to say in order to get approved for the rating. It'll go and see, okay, your tinnitus is service connected, but now you have migraines. That means your migraines is a secondary condition. I was screwing up when I was filing mine. I was filing migraines as a primary and wondering why, and getting angry that they're denying me. I was doing it wrong. My migraines weren't connected to my, service. They were connected to my tinnitus, which was connected to my service. And so when you look at how to actually properly do these things and file and everything, it's really amazing because the average veteran with this platform can now know what to say, how to say it. It's not complex. You're literally reading, like we have a thing called a claim script advisor. It literally is the script that you have to write and say. And so it'll literally tell you exactly what words to highlight during your CNP exam. And we couldn't make it any easier. And it's working. That's why it's working the way it is. And and the system's smart enough. So we have a claim optimizer, right? So it goes in and it literally grades your claim like a VA rating specialist. And at the end, it'll give you a score. It'll say you're this, 1 out of 10 or 2 out of 10 or 10 out of 10, right? And so we tell all of our veterans, do not file unless you're an 8 or 9 or 10, right? And so what it's doing is it's picking up the misses or the weaknesses in your claim. And it tells you exactly what to go get. Hey, you don't have a strong connection to service. You should go get a nexus letter, right? And so then we use AI technology to actually create these documents for you. Most veterans, they pay upwards of thousands of dollars for a nexus statement. Our platform will actually scrape the entirety of the internet to find medical journals and studies that correlate your disability to your service. And then it writes your nexus letter literally so that your doctor can just Google the APA cited, studies. And so what we've done is we've been able to do this, and all of our veterans are able to take that nexus letter to their doctor because it's in a format. It's even got a template and it's already written out. And all their doctor does is they sign it. And they just and if they want to, some of the doctors will Google those studies. And so they can read the study and then they can sign it. And so what's beautiful is it's a $20 copay now to get your nexus letter, right? Versus these farms that are charging $500 to $1,000.
Yep. And they're advertising openly about it too. So
yeah.
they're not trying to hide that they're taking the money of the veteran. But when you question them, they kind of block you on any social media platform.
Yeah.
They get a little upset. I'm looking at your website right now. It's amazing, all the things on here. And I've seen the VSO approval rate is only 58% with VSO help. That's a very low number. And I think that goes back to knowledge of the CFR and knowledge of the DBQ as well. If a lot of them have, like mine, he used to work for the VA, so it helped me out a lot to have him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and they're going through this whole shift now too, which is part of the reason why we're actively trying to pursue with the states to actually buy the platform and put it in every VSO location in the states, because there's no more of the crusty old first sergeant that knew every single thing there ever was to know, right? They are a dying breed, literally. And so what we're getting is this huge learning curve now. And the way that these VSOs are learning are with the veterans. Well, if you're unlucky enough to get a VSO that maybe hasn't had too much learnings, you're going to struggle. Yeah. And we got VSOs and there's millions of amazing people that are helping veterans and everything. And there's these fantastic VSOs, but there are also some VSOs that are telling people. We had a VSO tell a veteran, hey, don't add your family because it'll take a year to add to dependents. Oh my God. And so this veteran listened, and literally they went on. And once we were like, this isn't like that, you don't have to wait. And it's things like that where it's just the learning curve. That was probably one situation that VSO had where it did take a while, and it'd be they said process. Yeah, exactly. That point was dead on.
Thanks, Chad.
Yeah.
That's a great point. And I know for me, I never put in for a CRSC for special compensation. So I'm finally going. I went to our VSO here in our county about 2 weeks ago. I went in and asked them about it, and they're like, "Oh, you got to make us your signed a power of attorney so we can be your VSO." I said, "Whatever, got it, good." And then we'll have a conference with you and probably 10 other veterans. I said, "I just want to talk to one person. I don't want to be in a conference where it's just you spewing out information to a group of people that aren't going to listen to you because it's a group of people. Oh, that's how we do it. I said, so I'm not going to get any help. Thanks.
Yeah, no. And, you know, that's part of the allure with us being in veteran organizations. So, you know, if you call most veteran organizations, you can't get an appointment right away because they're trying to help so many veterans, right? And so imagine being able to go to the platform, get everything that you need so that when you do have your appointment, you literally just hand them 5 or 6 papers and it's got all of your documentation. It's got what your claim is. It's got the words you say. And that VSO or that veteran help at these organizations, they can churn through. We actually had one organization say they were 10xing the amount of veterans they could do because they literally have them go to our platform, pre-qualify. And if their claim's not good enough, it tells you right away. And it tells you, hey, you need to go do this, this, and this, and then come back. And then that way you can, so they're not wasting time with claims, these accordion level, medical records that they're having to fish through and everything, right? The veteran comes prepared and they know their claim's good. They got all the documentation. They can get their personal statement because it generates personal statements. It generates nexus letters. And then they just go and they fill out the forms and they're ready to go. And then normally in one meeting, they have everything they need.
Definitely. And I was just reading Chad put something in the chat again. He said the problem with CSRC is the rating system is different. He has a Purple Heart and got 80% CSRC, but made more even with taxes, so stayed where I was at.
Yep. Chad. So Chad actually, I know Chad. Chad actually is with us on the company, and Chad's an American hero. And so, he's my inspiration, right? For doing the things with the Purple Heart that we're doing, where, we've heard so many horror stories about veterans that can't get their, claims approved. They're Purple Heart recipients.
Right.
And it's just the most craziest thing. And, we have some amazing people over at the Military Order of the Purple Heart. Chad's personally helped veterans, with the platform. And that's where we started our mission to really, I want to eradicate any Purple Heart recipient that doesn't have the benefits that they deserve. And so we're on a mission to literally give the platform away to any Purple Heart recipient so that we can get them their benefits.
So Purple Heart recipients, if you're listening tonight or on a recorded line, make sure you reach out to Paul via either his website, paulhylenski.com, or through vetmentorai.com.
Yep.
And he'll point you in the right direction to get what you need. As we were talking, another question came in. This one you haven't talked about. So KBB row 6. How do you balance automation with empathy in building AI solutions? Thanks, KB bro.
So this one was really hard because in the beginning, when we had the avatars, people asked a lot of weird stuff. And so, there's this fine balance with the avatar technology because you don't want people creating relationships with the avatars. And so you need to be just empathetic enough, but not too empathetic that they will actually start to develop relationships. Because especially for veterans with high anxiety, high PTSD, that could be a recipe for disaster. So we built a lot of frameworks in these avatar technologies that actually make sure that there is no relationship building, but there is a fair amount of empathy. One of the things that we actually patented in the avatars, and it's not on our website, but just so veterans know. So we actually patented a suicide ideation detector inside of the avatar. And so as it's actually interacting with you, it is trained on word phrases, combination of words. It even has computer vision where it can see you. And so it can literally detect if you are in a mental health crisis. And so we already saved one life. There's a Marine named John in Texas, And so apparently, and he told me this, and we got connected. We have his testimonial on, the website and all over our LinkedIn and everything. And so he's using the platform doing the CNP exam, and the avatar detected that he was having an anxiety attack, and he had made some comments that really, flagged the system. So when the SID, we called SID, when the SID, triggered, it said, "Do you have anyone in the house with you?" And so he said, "Yeah, my wife's in the other room." So he grabbed his wife. When he came back, the avatar said, "I've detected that it's triggered. The SID is triggered. You need to call 988. So they got on the hotline. Wow. And when they got on the hotline, the avatar through the speakerphone, right, had a conversation and told the 988 hotline operator what it had seen. And so they were able to actually get John some help. And so then he reached out, emailed, right? And you want to talk about two Marines crying and everything. So we talked on the phone, and he's like, "Your effing AI saved my life, brother." And so, here we are, two Marines crying because I did that. I built it to save lives because I had a friend who committed suicide about 10 feet away from me. Wow. And so I built that to save lives because I didn't notice the triggers. I didn't notice that, he was that bad off. And so I built an AI system to notice it. And so we already have one confirmed save with it. The majority of veterans, the vast majority, will never even know it's there. It's in the background. And like I said, we don't advertise it, but that was, to a great question. That was part of how I tried to embed empathy and caring and all this stuff in the background of these avatar technology.
That is outstanding. That's a great story, a great success story. Not just to getting the 92%, but now you saved that one Marine that we know of. That's the person we've saved, that you saved. And that's an amazing story and an amazing, testimony to what you're doing. And that's awesome. That's something you can hang your hat on every night and say, I'm doing something good.
Absolutely.
I know you heard in our intro, don't give in to the enemy within, stay in the light, call 988. That's a big focus of the Misfit Nation. When we first started, it was to get the pressure off our brothers and sisters' chests, let them tell their stories. And then they asked for more help, which is why we bring experts in from all the other ways. And if we reach one, teach one in every episode, then we're doing a good thing. And you're saving that man's life, that Marine's life. That's a kudos to you, man.
Thank you.
I think we just had another question in from Calendem. What's the biggest misconception veterans have about technology and advocacy?
Yeah, I think the biggest misconception that I've seen is that they can't use it, right? Like that they don't know how, or they're not smart enough, or they're not trained. And so that's part of our mission with Vet Mentor AI is, it's AI. Right now, AI is this big, scary kind of monster hanging out. Everybody's, worried about it and everything. But what if you could use AI for good?
Right.
And what if, this problem with the VA disability is a generational problem. It's a multi-generational problem. You talk to veterans that served in, Vietnam, or even veterans now. I talked to so many family members that were like, "Hey, my father or my husband," or they struggled so bad. And then I talked to veterans, excuse me. I talked to veterans who are like, "I can't get it. I'm quitting," right? Or they've quit long ago, or they've went to these lawyers who have gotten charged. We had a lawyer reach out to us who said, "Shame on us for using AI." And that guy made $10 million last year off of veterans. Imagine and here that. He was lecturing me off of a $20 access to the platform. And there's this huge hypocritical thing about, it's okay to pay for denials. Well, then you're setting veterans up to go get screwed because 75% of veterans get denied. And so that's part of the allure with our platform is, hey, I want to make it to where veterans don't get denied. I want to make it to where they got all the information. And if their claim's crap or their claim is not okay, or they don't have enough, information, it tells you right away that you shouldn't file your claim and you got to go get all these things. And so now the veteran isn't just the uneducated person saying, oh, I'm just going to file it and let them tell me whether it's good or not. You know your claim is good, or you know your claim's bad.
Right. Chad jumped in and asked, did you tell the denial testimony from Maryland? I'm not sure if that was the one they were using the wrong medical record.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. No, that was great. And that's a great story, right? And so they, like I said, he went to the news, and then they came out to my house and did an interview with both of us.
Nice.
And that's what I knew we had something really great.
It's definitely a good news story right there.
Yeah.
Because otherwise the veteran is just getting railroaded, and they quit. They will quit in that situation. Now, take one last question from the audience here. This is from, it looks like it says Rotten Clot, but I'll make sure I'm reading this right. Yeah, it does say Rotten Clot. Okay. From @RottenClot. How did your military experience shape the way you lead AI and business strategy today? Thank you, Rotten Clot.
Yeah, no, and I think for me, it's trying something new. Like when I went into the Marine Corps, I had never fired a weapon. I had never done half of the things that I went to do in the Marine Corps. And what I learned in the Marine Corps was like, you don't have to have had to do it before, but you got to believe that you can do it. And then you end up, really doing some amazing things. And I saw a lot of really great leadership in the Marine Corps. I also saw some not so good leadership in the Marine Corps. And so that shaped me as a leader. And part of my journey is, I've written 5 books. I've done 4 TED Talks, right? And I'm trying to change leadership from within. And sometimes that's the hardest. And for me, as an AI CEO, and it's just really trying to show people that you can do something that is just amazing, right? And we're going to help. My goal is to help millions of veterans and to literally end this whole VA disability thing where, hopefully in 5 to 10 years, you will never hear another veteran spouse or another veteran say, oh, I struggled to get my claim, or I couldn't get my claim approved. We're going to eradicate that totally. And we're going to do it with technology. And there's a lot of haters. There's a lot of people that are like, yep, that's not going to work. You can't, I couldn't tell you how many people have said, oh, this is, you're doing the wrong thing. And I knew again that I was doing the right thing. I was at a veteran event, right? And I had this lawyer come over as he was on the other side of the event. And so there we are with our table. He's at his table. He walks all the way over to my table and he says, kid, you're an idiot. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, you're charging like our one-time access for every tool in, all the veteran tools, like the most you ever pay on the platform is $150. That's the max access you have, right? So for most veterans, it's so cheap. You can get a job, you can, all the tools. But he said, you realize you're charging $150 for what I charge $10,000 to $20,000 to do. Wow. And he said, that makes you an idiot. And I said, no, sir, it makes me the person that's going to put you out of business. And he looked at me and then he turned around. And as he turned around, there's about 6 or 7 other veterans there. And they just start clapping. And I thought to myself, we're going to do this. And Chad and all of our other business, directors, they've heard me say it a million times, like, we're not going to stop. And it's adoption. It's all about, how do we get more and more people to see that they can actually use AI and they don't need a lawyer that's going to charge them 10 grand. They can use a platform and they can do it. And yes, they're good enough. Yes, they're smart enough. Yes, they can do the technology. They don't have to be afraid of AI.
Right. You said $150 is the most they'd have to spend.
Yeah.
Is that's to use everything that's on,
Yep.
on your
So that's like that's our total package, or our all-inclusive package. That's all they'll ever spend. And we have veterans getting $50,000, $100,000 in back pay. All they'll ever spend on the platform is $150. I don't want any of their other money. They buy the platform. They got all the tools to be used. They can go write their own, personal statement, nexus statement, all that stuff. So a nexus statement on its own typically costs veterans $500. Then you add in the optimizer, which a lawyer is going to charge you, thousands of dollars to do. And so our platform, and it's just a very simple thing. And the way that I got that price was I looked at all the other people that were doing anything similar, and then I slashed their price. The lowest one I could find and I slashed their price by 90%.
Wow.
And that guy about lost his mind. And so, which was great, because that's my whole purpose, is to put a lot of these people that are really screwing veterans. You can do it yourself because we built a software as a service. You don't need to pay somebody $1,250 or however much these lawyers are charging thousands and thousands to do it.
Right. And then it says $19.99 a month, $149.99 a year. If the veteran is done, can they just cancel at any time?
Yeah, cancel. And we have some of our veterans that, let's say I just need a personal statement, and I want to make sure that they'll sign up for the $20 a month, and then they'll cancel after a couple months, right? And it's really simple to do. Now, we have other veterans that have stayed on the plan because they just lost their job recently with a lot of the government cuts and everything. And so they're working to get a job, and they use the resume builder, they use the career thing, then they got their benefits. And so they stay on the platform because there's so much value to it.
Chad said to tell us about the personal statement by using ChatGPT for friends and families.
Yeah. So this was one that we actually did with him. So the platform will actually generate your personal statement, and it'll actually write it the way the CFR requires it to be. So it'll include in the words like prostrating and all the wording that it needs to be. And then what veterans can do, and we did this very simply, we actually did this during a demo, was we copied and pasted the personal statement that the platform wrote. And then we said, write this as the person's spouse. So then and just put it right into ChatGPT. So then it spits out and says, my husband has multiple prostrating headaches. And so it wrote it as a spouse. Then what we did was we said, okay, write this as somebody who served with me. And so now it wrote it. And then what happened was you can send it to your veteran friends, and they can they can put it on the form and sign the 4138 form. And now you have personal statements. Well, that builds your case. And so the ability, we even had a veteran who, funny as it was, had their daughter write with crown on the 4138 form. My daddy gets angry a lot of the times, and he yells a lot, right? And so think about how impactful that would be if you're a VA Raider. And now you get this personal statement that is literally, you got 4 or 5 of them, right? Now you're building the thing. Let's say you're lacking in medical evidence. That's a great way to show the severity of symptoms and everything.
That's awesome. And using ChatGPT for good. So it's awesome.
Yeah,
definitely. And we said that earlier, to use AI for good. It's not all bad stuff. And that highlights that right there. We didn't get to talk about your books, Paul. If you want to just hit over them real quick, and then we'll go towards.
Yeah, I've written 5 books. 2 of them are best sellers. Error Proofing Humans is actually one of the best. It was my first bestseller. It's about the science and psychology of human error, and then how to error proof human behavior. And then the last book I wrote was called The Secret Code of Influence. And it's actually how to influence people, and do it for good. And so you're able to actually go over a lot of the science and psychology behind influence. And so it's really great for leaders and people that are looking, to improve their leadership. But yeah, that I did all them. And honestly, I wrote my first book because my manager at the time said I was too stupid to write a book and no one would read it. So then what I did was I actually wrote the book about all of his horrible leadership practices.
Nice.
And so that became a whole thing. And that was great. I obviously didn't name him by name, but if you read the book, you know exactly who I was talking about. So.
Touche.
Yes.
Chad, you're welcome. Anytime I can help someone help veterans, I'll have you on the show. Thank you. Paul, I was answering Chad's question in the chat there, or statement in the chat. Paul, as we start to close out, what's the best way to get in contact with you? Is it your websites or is it LinkedIn?
I think it's LinkedIn is the place where I'm most active. So on LinkedIn, I'm known as the AI leader. And so, please feel free to DM me or send me a message on LinkedIn. I post every day, something about either AI or leadership. So if you're looking to learn, it's a great way. Follow me. You can get all this free content, and it's pretty amazing.
And before I let you go, I put my guest on the hot seat right before we leave every time. What's 3 things the Misfit Nation can start doing tomorrow to be better humans?
So I think the first one is, that's really great. That's a good one. The first one is realizing that we are all interdependent. And so as humans, no matter what you are, like in the Marine Corps, it's, they say, we all bleed green, right? And so realizing that we're interdependent on each other is changes the way that you actually act with each other. The second thing is technology. You have to realize that it's not going anywhere and it's coming in like a freight train. So you can either build systems to use it for good, or you can be afraid of it and then you're going to be struggling. And I think what we're going to see more and more is, illnesses being solved that never could. These radical breakthroughs, problems that were problems for decades being able to be solved. You're going to have somebody like me that does some amazing things with like this process. You're going to have another person do an amazing thing with the medical field or whatever. And then, the third thing is just always have a constant feel or a constant want for education, right? And I think by educating each other and just constantly having this thing about, I want to learn more. That means learning more about each other. And I think that makes the world a better place when you learn what, strengths people have and all that.
100%. Paul, thanks again for joining us tonight. I know you can do a lot of those things on a Sunday night besides hang out with the Misfit Nation, but you're here with us and Misfit Nation. Thank you as well. Anytime you want to come back and give us any highlights or just shoot us some more numbers, if we want to get some about that 92%, that'd be awesome to share that with the Misfit Nation as well.
That's great. Thank you again for everything, sir.
No problem. Misfit Nation, as always, a day tomorrow with you is better than a day without you. If you are feeling the darkness creeping in on you, don't let it. Stop. Think about those who are around you. They do care about you. We care about you. Dial 988. Take option 1 if you're a veteran. And if you need to, talk to any one of us on the show. Myself, Steven, or Jake. That's info@themisfitnation.com. Jake at themisfitnation.com or Steven at themisfitnation.com. We will take care of you and make sure you're here tomorrow. Till Tuesday, have a great night, everyone.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling because we are
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.